Okay, let's talk real quickly about former FBI Director James Comey. He is now facing federal charges of making false statements to Congress and obstructing an investigation. And the indictment focuses on Comey's 2020 testimony about FBI leaks during the Crossfire hurricane probe. Prosecutors say he misled the Senate Judiciary Committee when questioned about whether FBI personnel were authorized to speak anonymously to the press, and Comey strongly denies the charges. I have to be honest, this case sounds really familiar. Unlike the John Bolton case, which deals with the Espionage Act, which also is used a lot against political enemies or dissidents or whoever the government wants to go after or silence. This one, though, with the obstruction of justice, I feel like they use this all the time. In fact, we saw a lot of Trump people from 2016 go down because of obstruction of justice. It seems to be the thing they're always trying to get people for. Seems to be easy for whatever reason, like, oh, we think you lied to Congress about this thing or you were dishonest. And so they go after them for obstruction of justice. It feels political when they do something, when they use this charge. What do you think? Do you think it feels political when they use this charge? Or is this like, no, this is a legitimate charge and they should start? I mean, I feel like there's a lot more people who've lied to Congress than just the handful that we've seen prosecuted.
So you're right. This case stems from an exchange between Senator Ted Cruz and former FBI Director James Comey in 2020, which revisited the testimony that Comey gave in 2017 to Senator Chuck Grassley. Just briefly, Grassley had asked whether Comey or anyone he authorized had been anonymous sources for news reports about the Trump or Clinton investigations, and Comey replied under oath, never. Cruz later revisited that issue to press Comey on possible inconsistencies between the answer and later comments by Andrew McCabe, who suggested he had leaked information with Comey's knowledge. So when Cruz later references that same question in 2020, he read directly from Comey's prior testimony, but in this instance he misspoke, asking, have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about matters related to the Trump investigation or the Clinton administration? And Comey responded, I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what I said in May of 2017. He's charged with making a false statement to Congress. To prove a false statement charge to Congress, prosecutors have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Comey's answer in 2020 was knowingly false, and also that it was material to the proceeding, which is a tall order when the underlying question was itself confused and arguably outside the 5-year statute of limitations for the 2017 testimony. Those factual and procedural issues, I think, make this case, difficult. As far as like the is this one political? I think his lawyers say that this case raises red flags. The first is process, the way that the case kind of came about. You had this career prosecutor, Eric Siebert, who was a Trump-appointed interim U.S. attorney who'd been nominated for the permanent post. Eric Siebert viewed the evidence and he concluded that there wasn't a case. Eric Siebert was then replaced after declining to prosecute the matter, and in his place, the administration installed Lindsay Halligan, who, my understanding, is a former insurance lawyer and Trump aide, who brought the case before a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia and secured an indictment. That's a little unusual. Normally, line prosecutors, it's the line prosecutors who know the case best, present it to a grand jury and sign the indictment. And here, Halligan personally did both. It's not. This is not to say that it doesn't happen. It's just it's not ordinary.
Okay.
But I would be careful not to assign motive. I think that the appearance, or his lawyers may say that the appearance is troubling when a new prosecutor comes in and secures the indictment this way. And for sure, perception matters almost as much as proof because it can shape public trust in the justice system. But I would be careful not to assign motive.
Well, I will. I mean, it feels political. I don't think that he would be going after Comey. I mean, the thing that bothers me about this, I think the most is, you know, I'm all about just take them all down. If they're all crooks, if they've all lied, if they're all criminals, if they all think they could get away with whatever they want, storing classified information, lying to Congress, all these various things that they've done, take them all down. They all need to be held accountable because we can't have a system like this where people think they can get away with these types of things because they think that, well, this is small or it's not a big deal or I'm above the law in some way. Just take them all down. But it does feel like this is kind of a tit for tat, that it just seems to be, okay, Biden, the Democrats did it to the Republicans. The Republicans are now doing it to the Democrats. It's kind of going back and forth, tit for tat. And it doesn't feel uniform. It doesn't feel like an actual crackdown of guilt, crime, and just corruption throughout our political system. It feels targeted. And this is, Trump said, we're going to stop doing this. We're not going to be weaponizing the justice system anymore. And it just feels like, okay, well, I guess that was a lie because now we are actually weaponizing the justice system. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like we're going after everybody. If we were, why wouldn't it be more equal? Or maybe it is, and maybe we're just not getting those cases. I mean, what is your, how are you feeling about that?
So I'm a lawyer here in DC. I have handled a lot of high stakes criminal cases before federal grand juries. To me, I think that it's important to kind of stay calm under the noise. When everyone is yelling, you got to stick to the record, stick to the facts. And in my view, I think that's where credibility comes from.
Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.